Okay, so I'm going to go through the new mobile application with you. This is the iPhone version, but pretty much everything is very similar on the Android version, other than how you get there. The link will be sent to the people who need it in the general email of where to download the Android version. For iPhone, just go to the App Store. I've already typed in the MI&T Inspector app. If you search that, it'll come up, download. And we're just going to go through kind of everything start to finish. Username that you have for mitmold.org. It's just a test account. Okay, so here's a calendar. There's a week, month, day. Let me see, look on the day, go to the next day. I'll just take a look at the month, and look at this. There's notifications that are gonna come up, and you're still gonna get your emails and everything about when you get jobs. But pull this up, and especially with the month, and you'll see when you have something, and you click on it. There's a little dot if there is a job on that day. So I'm gonna come over here. You'll see your overview of everything that's owed, and you have just pending jobs. It's pretty much almost a mirror image and a easier to view setup for the iPhone. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do here, just so you kind of see, is I'm about to submit a job, just so you see the notifications. So I literally just added it on the back end and from the office, and you see that the job was added. You get a push notification. Make sure your push notifications are on, and you view the job. When you come to the view of a general job, you'll see all the client information, phone number, click to call, email, pulls up an email. The address will eventually go to directions. Right now it's saying unknown location. It's something we're working on, but that will be something that we do. And so we come here, go to create report, and this is the main feature of this that we want you guys to use. You want to essentially save you a whole lot of time by creating your reports on site. And we're just gonna go through and plug through a bunch of random stuff here. So let's see, clear. Now, when you're taking your pictures, with any type of technology, there's always a possibility that there's going to be a problem. But the good thing about this is, if you're doing this report on site and you're taking your pictures and you're doing all this stuff on site, it's going to save your pictures anyways. So, the worst case scenario, if it freezes or something like that, and it is possible, especially this is fairly new, but we have had people testing it, and in general it's been very good. But it is possible, but the good thing is it is not going to lose your pictures. So I'm just going to take them from the library. Alright, so there's my front of the house, and next it's just going to guide you through everything. Okay, so when you take just going to add all our pictures here, and I kind of got a little bit of everything. So we got an outside control, sample ID is whatever the serial number is. And there's a backup or a further back picture outside. It's air sample or surface sample, and then for the control we got outside, and it's not an inside sample because it's an outside control sample. So we're moving on. So that's our first sample, and now we're going to take an inside one. Let's see. So we'll go with or start location. So we'll say upstairs, air sample, inside, moving along. Okay, we'll go with the swab. Upstairs floor. I'm just kind of making some stuff up here. Or we can. Okay, I'm going to add one more. Just make a cavity sample so we got a little bit of everything. And once again, notice the close-up picture and then one from further back away. The general idea is we want restoration companies to be able to get these and give bids directly off of it. We want these guys to want to use us and give us more jobs and recommend us for their pre and post testing. So this is a cavity sample, in-wall cavity, save. It really should have some more general pictures. Most everyone is doing a good job with the close-up picture and the one further back, and now we have this. Okay, so and just a couple notes. So growth. What's even better also is if you could start bringing a tape measure, and if you could, for your general pictures, kind of show a general about how much area is affected. Or 2 feet of drywall, or 2 feet by 1 feet is showing water stains. Things like that. Things that will really help the restoration side of things. Okay. Okay. And then just go through general observations. Notes. And for recommended samples not submitted, this is something that's people have not done or have not been putting in. And when there's a problem at a house or a business, whatever it is, if you have 2 samples taken, you only submitted the inside versus the outside sample, and there's visible mold there, and there's an issue there, and you say recommended samples not submitted, 0, that is basically ludicrous. There should always be additional samples recommended to confirm a source of a problem and see how far a problem is spread. We need to recommend these samples and let the consumer decide if they want to submit them or not. We want to approach every single job as if it could possibly go to litigation. Many times we get inspections back and they say, well, I actually think I should have had this sample. Why didn't the inspector recommend it? And we say, well, the inspector didn't think that you needed it. Well, it's really not up to you to decide what's needed and what's not needed. If there's any new information that a sample could be offered, it should be recommended, and it's up to the consumer whether they want to take it or not. We don't want to get everything back and say, why wasn't this sample recommended? We want to be able to say, well, we did recommend that sample and you said no. So we'll say basement sample and first floor sample, and control sample taken. So job total, 0. Okay, I'm going to use a payment method with a check here. When we're paying with a check, take a picture of the check. This is going to kind of be our fail safe. With sending checks to the lab, it makes everything more convenient for everybody. But the lab, they're not essentially part of our company, so they lose them or misplace them, and it makes things a hassle. This is going to be our fail safe to make sure that if we don't have the check from the lab, it should be here. Now, if it's a check and you didn't take a picture, we can't really help you if things go wrong, and it's very rare that it does happen. But if we can deposit a check by a picture, so this is our fail safe. So I'm just gonna take a picture of a back of a check here. And this is, you're literally going to be walking out of the job site with your totals already submitted and not even have to do anything. So we're going to be saving quite a bit of time here. So that's it, and I just got everything was saved. So we're going to pretend like I got the lab results back and come in, complete the report. Elevated conditions, yes, yes. Upstairs. And then we'll add a work area. Source of the mold growth. We'll just say plumbing issue. And then most of you guys have seen this. We have work area templates. This is going to give you a really nice description, but it's going to be generalized. So make sure that we put something in there to make it specific to the job itself. So we'll say water intrusion leak, and we'll say it's localized. And so it says based on mold test results, it appears the area. So we'll say upstairs floor does in fact have a mold problem. Following work should be carried out, etc., etc. And if you have any other notes to add to the work area, now's a good time to do it. So we'll say yes to all. The biggest thing with this is, you shouldn't ever need to vacate the premise and have a containment. So it's one or the other. So we're going to say no to vacate the premises. And then save. Next. And your email will already be plugged into there as we have it on the back end. If you want to get this done and see what it looks like first, I might have got okay. Might have lost it for a little bit, but let's see if it comes back here. So we'll plug this in. We'll send this to the office, even though it's already getting one. Okay, and let's say I don't want to show this to the client yet. I want to look at it first before I send it off. This do not show mold removal company recommendations. This is very, very, very important. If this job is for a restoration company already, now on the back end we haven't put it in. We've only put it in for a few people. The second page of the report is going to show we do not perform mold removal, but in general, here's a few companies that actually we see do fairly good work. This is going to be done for a couple of reasons. One, because people ask us anyways, and they say, who should we use, and it saves us time by having to answer that. It makes it very easy for them. Two, we'll get some, by the fact that we're giving them some recommendations for work, hopefully they will do the same in return and get everybody a little bit more work. Now, do not show mold removal companies. Click this when you're doing a job for a restoration company. No restoration company wants to give us a pre-inspection and then say, hey, here are 3 companies that should be used, especially when they're not even on that list. So if you're doing either a pre-test for a restoration company or a post-clearance test for a restoration company, anyone or the job or property management, whatever it is, if the contractor has already been chosen, click that button. and that will disable the second page on the report. It will not show the recommendations for the mold removal companies. So saved, finish that. And we're all done. A couple other things on here, even on this and on mitmold.org, you can now add a job. So if you got a new client and you add a job, if you submit this, you automatically will be put at the higher percentage, so you don't have to worry about us sending it over, making sure it gets added in. It'll automatically be put at the higher percentage. So hopefully everyone will understand why this should be mandatory to use. There's no reason not to use this.